King Richard, based on the true story that will inspire the world, starring Will Smith, is a movie that I was looking forward to as soon as I saw the trailer for it, as soon as I heard that the movie was coming out. I actually featured the trailer of the movie in my weekly newsletter as a video of the week a few months ago. If you're interested, please feel free to subscribe absolutely for free at spuntoday.com/subscribe. And you'll be put on to some dope stuff like that. Anyway, I was really looking forward to this movie, and it did not disappoint at all. It actually exceeded my expectations. Here is the official synopsis of the movie, and then I'll give you some recap and reflecting on it. King Richard is a look at how tennis superstars Venus and Serena Williams became who they are after the coaching from their father, Richard Williams. And it's really dope how the movie focuses on the father, hence the name King Richard, who was the visionary, if you will, and like primary force behind what Venus and Serena became. Obviously, it's a family effort. The mother, as King Richard's partner, had a lot to do with it as well, obviously. And most obviously, Venus and Serena's talent and work ethic and skill is what made it all come to fruition. But Richard Williams, as the story goes, from before they were even born, had a plan to make his daughters tennis stars and wrote out this, I think it was like 13 or 70 page plan on how he would coach them, how he would teach himself tennis, how he would get them signed up to get coached by elite coaches, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And, he had, a little Joe Jackson-ish vibes, minus the minus the physical abuse. But he definitely had like that drive and that push to like make them work hard and try to achieve perfection. And Will Smith, I'll say, which made this movie happen, did like such an amazing job. Like I wouldn't be surprised if he was like nominated for a bunch of awards behind this. Did an amazing job. And I'm actually reading Will's book now, self-titled Will, which I'm going to do a full, breakdown on once I complete it for a future free writing session episode. Probably the next free writing session episode, I'll be done with the book by then. But it's fucking amazing. And in reading it, I've gotten like more like insight into like Will, I would say, as a person, because it's a very introspective book, but his ideas and thoughts behind like acting. And I've always thought of him as like a good actor, obviously, but just like everybody likes Will Smith kind of like actor. Like I didn't think of him as like an actor, like an artist actor, until reading his book and then remembering like all the roles and stuff like that he has played, and how maybe I never thought of him that way because it was like, it came off as like effortless for him. And he was like just so good in everything that he's been in. And I'm someone that even liked Wild Wild West, for example. Put it that way. But anyway, this role is definitely like some next level shit from an acting perspective for Will. So definitely kudos to him. But here are some takeaways of mine from the movie that I want to share with you guys. There was a scene with him and, his kids, going to sleep, and he has them say a quote back to him that he always tells them about like them sleeping or like having to wake up early to go work on tennis and stuff, which was, quote, "Don't nothing come to a sleeper but a dream," end quote. I really enjoyed the dynamic between the parents and like the ingenuity that they showed in like being able to like work together as a unit to accomplish a specific goal that they set out for, even though it wasn't without, their own like turbulent, times and issues, which was highlighted with a conversation / fight that Richard and his wife had, where his wife had to check him and check his ego. And it was a powerful scene, and it helped like put things in perspective for him in terms of his wife also being there with him. And it's not all about him and like his idea, and just because he had the vision initially, and the fact that he was kind of like shunning away his other kids and, focusing solely on Venus, or mainly on Venus. But there was a great scene where that highlights the like ingenuity of the parents being on the same page, which is when Richard finally got his kids like to a tennis coach that was like in the middle of like coaching like Pete Sampras, I think, and like another famous tennis player. And he actually agreed to coach one of the girls the way he did this, by the way, was just like showing up while they were in the middle of a training session, and when they took a break, jumping in and saying, hey, can you just look at my girls, just hit the tennis ball, a few times around, they're okay with it or whatever, blah, blah, kind of like pushing himself in an unorthodox way. But long story short, the coach agreed to only coach Venus. What the parents decided to do was they videotaped each and every one of Venus's sessions with this world-class coach on VHS, and then the mother would take those VHSs and the next day you play them and use them to coach Serena. And I thought that was, really dope, really innovative, and just like cool that they were on the same page like that. Because, it was a dream that both the girls had, both Venus and Serena. Another really powerful scene was when Richard had like this reluctance to let Venus go pro, and he or semi-pro, I think it was, or pro. I don't remember, but it was like, moving up to the next level. Like he wanted her to wait a little bit longer, but he realized that the reluctance was more based on him and things that he was like dealing with internally versus, thinking that she wasn't ready or something like that. And he has this like really powerful scene with her where he tells her this story about being a kid and, accidentally touching a white man on his hand, like when he was like picking something up for him or something like that, and he got like beat down, he got like beat up, because at the time, a black person wasn't worthy, quote unquote, I guess, of like touching a white person. Like that's like blasphemous back then. And he said that he remembers that while he was there getting beat, like his dad saw, and his dad like ran away in fear. And he was trying to explain to Venus that when she goes pro, no matter what happens to her, he won't be able to protect her in that same way. And that was a really, really powerful scene. What that was dope, what was pretty funny, is when he was going around, to different like coaches, and he was going to country clubs and stuff like that, like tracking down these coaches that he would see in like tennis magazines and stuff like that, coach of so-and-so, blah, blah, blah. And he would track these people down and, show them like a pamphlet that he created of this, plan for their entire careers, and that they should, take a risk, and coaches' daughters, they would pass. It was like the logical thing for them to do. He was, raising two girls from Compton, where they grew up. Not really a sport for, or tennis rather is a sport for like the affluent. You know what I mean? They probably all just saw it like as a long shot. But Richard, each time he would just respond with, "You're making a big mistake, but I'm gonna let you make it." And I like that line. Then, after I think that first coach, the one that was like, "All right, fuck it. You're here, you're in my face, you're annoying us, you're interrupting our fucking training. I'll see them like hit the ball around or whatever you call it in tennis." And after that, he tells Richard, "I think you might have the next Michael Jordan." And then Richard like promptly corrects him and says, "Oh no, brother, man, I got me the next two." That was so dope. Lastly, like if you guys know the story of Venus and Serena, they're like two of the best tennis players of all time. Venus was the first African-American tennis player, period, I believe. Definitely the first African-American female tennis player to become like the best in the world. And Serena Williams, her younger sister, which came up after her, is largely regarded as the greatest, not only the greatest tennis player of all time, but she's always mentioned in the conversation of the GOAT of the GOATs. So like, how they speak about who's the best of like the best across like all different sports. Like, was Michael Jordan the best basketball player, or the greatest GOAT? Is it Tom Brady in the NFL? Is he the greatest GOAT? Is it Mayweather? Is he the greatest GOAT? There's always an argument that Serena Williams, with what she was able to accomplish, mixed with the competition that she had and the unlikelihood of her, being able to do what she did, that she is the greatest GOAT of all the GOATs, which is crazy. And there's a scene in the movie where Richard, after having this, ego checking conversation with his wife when they got into a fight and she highlighted that he was neglecting his other kids, says to him, or he sees Serena rather, and winds up telling her, I know this is hard for you. Your sister Venus is going to be number one tennis player in the world. And I know you're happy for her and you're proud of her, but I know it's also hard for you as well. And Serena acknowledges that, yeah, it is. And he tells her that he knew that growing up in Venus's shadow would help mold her into the greatest to ever do it. And that's exactly how it played out. It's a fucking great movie, amazing story. You know, certain things, obviously, in movies like this are exaggerated for dramatic effect. I don't know how much of it was, how much of it wasn't, but as a story with the tagline, you know, based on the true story that will inspire the world, it absolutely does just that and completely lives up to it. King Richard, starring Will Smith, was available in theaters and streaming on HBO as well. I'm not sure if it still is streaming on HBO, but wherever it is, wherever it's available, I highly recommend that you folks check it out.